3, 2, 1. 5 minutes of bottom position squat, guys, okay? So I am gonna talk for this 5 minutes. I don't know if I'll talk for the full 5, but we're gonna go over this 5-minute squat tests, play, whatever we want to call it, challenge, I guess. Now, this is something we're going to be doing in the group class starting this week, so whatever this week is for the next month and something that you guys can be doing at home every single day, okay? This can be done every day. If you want to do it only when you're coming to class, that's fine as well, but the whole purpose of this is to start developing better bottom squat mechanics, or at least bottom squat flexibility, because for most of us, we do not have ideal bottom position, okay? And if you think of this as a natural human movement, which it is, then we should all have the capacity to sit flat-footed in the bottom of a squat for extended periods of time. This should be a position that we all should move towards and be trying to attain. And the best way to do it is simply spend more time here, okay? So there's a little bit of history around this challenge. Recently, Zach Tellender, if you follow him online, he's a weightlifting kind of commentator, coach guy on YouTube, and he has started a 5-minute squat challenge. There used to be a 10-minute squat challenge. I believe, if I'm not wrong, with Kelly Starrett. There were some other ones with Ido Portal way back in the day, I believe. I might be wrong on some of the names, but either way, this has been something that's been done many, many times over. So this is nothing new. We are just attaching to it and starting to bring it into group class, because every group class is going to end with this, okay? Just sitting in the bottom. Now, you're going to get very uncomfortable in this position in the first few times you do it, or whenever it might be, maybe for a couple weeks. But over time, you're going to start to realize that you're going to be able to expand and open this position up. And wherever you're tight, whether it be adductors, calves, soleus, okay, hip capsule, is going to start to open up for you. It's going to help your ability to train better, to be more aware of your bottom position, to help with injury prevention, all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of value to this position. Okay, so we are going to simply spend some time in this, and this is all part of my kind of, I don't know if it's new, but my new thing on human movement. I've been very intrigued into ideas of what natural human movement is and what we should all be able to have potential in with regard to like flexibility. We chatted about this in group class this morning. One would be the bottom squat. Another one would be a very deep lunge or split squat variation. Another one would be overhead position. We should all have certain standards that we can maintain for proper overhead position, as well as you could look at maybe like shoulder extension in the bottom of a dip, things like that. Then you get into like strength movements as well, or certain like standards that we would want to attain. But right now we're just talking about range of motion or positions, okay? So couple kind of talking points I had for myself while I'm going here is, first one, human movement. Again, I've already touched on this. This is a natural human position. We should have the ability to do this. Now, for myself, you'll note that I have heel plates in right now, and that's because I have a blockage in my ankle on my left side, which stops me from sitting in a flat squat very easily, or at least it's highly uncomfortable. So I'm using the heel plate, and over time, I'm going to move that heel plate down so that I can create more position. So you may want to use this, and you can work with your coaches to talk about the best position for you. And then while you're down here, I'm just sitting chatting, but you're also welcome to move around and kind of play with the position a little bit, okay? So if you want to play with a slightly wider stance, pushing your knees out, driving in, whatever it is, you kind of mess around with it. But it is a relaxed bottom position, not a tensed. So you're not trying to hold a really tensed bottom position. We actually are relaxing into this movement. Then there's like a whole other kind of like mindset that comes along with this, which I can go into more detail in a later video with regard to like hip structure. But realistically, this is also part of many people's culture. So if you go around the world, this position is a natural sitting position for all kinds of different groups of people in the world. And us in Western society, through the use of chairs and desks and all these things, have essentially gotten out of the ability to be able to do this. So we need to bring this back as a movement structure. So that's why we're starting to pull this in. And then I think over time what it does also is it does help with injury prevention. If you think about the fact that for most of us to squat deep, to land in a bottom of a clean or a snatch efficiently, but not be able to sit here, means that we're going to be putting a lot of torque on you know, whether it be your knees, your ankles, your hips, or your low back, you're gonna be putting a lot of strain in these joints if you don't have the capacity to sit here. So again, we're gonna develop this ability. And over time, what you're gonna find is that this aids in the health of your knees, which is the first part that a lot of people are gonna have issues with, is like, what about my knees? And it's like, this is absolutely fine position for knees, and if anything, it actually can develop capacity, which is a very good thing. And we start to address whatever the weakness is. So if your weakness is, again, like I said, hip capsule or adductors, or you know, maybe even rectus femoris length or whatever, this is just going to attach that. So every single person is going to feel this differently. All right. Now, a couple things when you're doing this. If you are having ankle lockage or like bone-on-bone kind of structural issues, you can play with a heel elevation. That would be just fine. You're welcome to do that. Otherwise, you can also do a band. I'll go into this in a later video, but you can use bands to pull the talus bone back, which I'll get into why that's the case. And then what you want to do also sitting down here is if you want to have like a support, maybe you can hang on to the rig, okay? And while you're down here, rather than just sitting here for just movement, you can start to play with wider stance positions, different toe structures, different knee positions, a little bit of rotation. If you're getting a little bit of cramping, you can do some calf raises, because a lot of you are going to start to feel your anterior tib start to kind of wind up into this position, which is going to get really challenging for you. So that was actually 6 minutes, okay? So I was down there for a while. Once you're out of this, I highly recommend you just move back into a seated position like this and extend the ankle joint, just kind of relax the anterior tibs, which get pretty wound up in here, and then move into a hip flexor stretch. It's not necessary, but it would be a nice advantage just to kind of open the hips off after being stuck in that position for so long. So you can move into just either like a long Spider-Man version of a stretch, or preferably something like this. Okay, I hope I'm not on the screen, but you know, just sitting in here in a hip flexor stretch, doing some pulses or just a static hold for an extended period of time. So you can go anywhere between 20 and 30 seconds, all the way up to a minute, based on how it feels for you. You could also do variations like this, which would be just fine. Anything that reverses that bottom squat position would be ideal. Now, I started off saying I would try and not talk the full 5. I'm at 7 now, so sorry about that, but I should have known better. Anyways, have fun with these guys. Appreciate it.